Okay. I wanted to do a countdown. I wanted to do 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I tell you, after a certain time, it's like, it's just no filter. There'll probably be a little mini filter, but let me just go ahead and introduce myself. If you don't know who I am by now, it is Dr. Sarah Renee Langley, your Limitless Liberator, where I am helping women leaders all around the world learn the secrets and the art of living, loving, and leading powerfully and boldly without limits, unapologetically and guiltlessly. And what we are coming here today to talk about, listen, Will and Jada. That seems to be the hot topic today. And the thing is that everybody's giving their commentary. I think it's time for someone like myself, who has the degrees behind me, to maybe give and lend some perspective on a couple of things, as well as bring my lovely co-host, Dr. Shonte. She is a neuroscientist. And what we were doing, I want to say some things about Facebook, but I want to make sure that this gets pushed out. So I'll keep my comments to myself about Facebook. And I don't mean to bust out like that. But the point is that we need to talk about this. So let me go ahead and see if my lovely co-host, Shonte, yes, she is. Let me see if I can bring her on. Let me add her. And let's see if we can bring her on so we can have this conversation. Because we've been hearing everybody for the past few days since Jada decided to, gonna bring you on. She decided to go ahead and open up her, herself. I'm going to say her mouth, which is okay. So the fact that she has something to say. And what we are coming to do right now with the lovely Dr. Shonte. Hey, Dr. Shonte. I'm going to let you introduce yourself in a second. I was just really warming up everybody. And what I want you to do, thank you for tuning in, because you can tune in anywhere. You may want to tune off because you may have heard this already all day, every day about Jada and Will. But I thought that it would be best. Me and Dr. Shonte thought that it would serve best in terms of lending the perspective from our standpoint, because we have degrees behind our name. There's a reason behind we have these degrees. We might as well use them and help people to really look at things in a reframed mindset. Now, y'all heard me talk about that a long time for those who have been following me. So we just really want to take the time just to help you. And please, at the same time, we want you to tag, like, and share. Share this out, because sharing is caring. You never know, you may help someone become limitless in the process. And also make sure that you can lend your conversation in the comment section. So we're going to be checking that out as well. So if you have any type of comments, go ahead, no holds barred. We're not going to judge, no harm, no foul, no right or wrong, no good or bad. Okay, but let's be tasteful though, okay? Because I have no problem. Y'all know me, so I want to be respectful, and I want to kind of, show, I don't want to show my behind in front of company, so y'all don't make me do that. So with that said, Dr. Shonte, please come on in. How you doing?
I am good. I'm Dr.ish Shonte. I'm still working on that dissertation I put off 10 years ago. So, yes, but I'm Shonte Taylor, neuroscientist and success strategist, founder of the Optimind Institute. And my mission is to empower 1 billion minds. And I'm here doing it with Dr. Sarah Langley. That is part of her mission as well, to empower minds, to take us from limited to limitless. So I'm all on board with that. And so I just know this is a dynamic and needed conversation from our lenses of the neuroscientific, psychological, social, and behavioral perspective that most people won't receive because they just don't have, it's not their problem, not blaming them, but some people just have a certain level of perspectives and trainings and experiences that can be brought together to have a powerful and dynamic conversation. So I'm glad I'm here.
Awesome. Listen, we were already brewing about this today, and I tell you, listen, now y'all know that I'm from Philly, so right there. So see right there, I just shifted.
Yes,
I'm from Philly, and you can take the girl out of Philly, but you can't take the Philly out of the girl. And so I will try my best to keep the hat on, but I'm limitless. So I'm sure that y'all can understand. So I'm just kind of preface this ahead of time of how I'm going to be. I'm going to be tasteful and colorful at the same time, and it's all right.
You gotta
So
be you.
yes, gotta be me, right? We gotta exemplify limitless, right? So just really want to give a shout out to all those who's on here right now. So hey, cousin Lavanzel, how are you, Kenyatta, and your family doing? Thank you for tuning in from North Kakalaki. Hey, Ivan, how you doing? Tuning in from Maryland. Hey, Vernon, how are you? Thank you for tuning in from Philly. We really appreciate you all. So thank you for tuning in. And listen, again, make sure that y'all tag, like, and share. Share this out. We really have a hot topic for you. We already told you, we already introduced you about it. Will and Jada. So what I want you to do is go ahead and put in the comment section, what's your thoughts? So as we start to discuss this kind of conversation, I want to hear, Dr. Shonte, want to hear from you. Let's see what you have to say. What are your thoughts about the whole Will and Jada saga, about Jada, sharing from her side of the story in terms of from her book? Because we've seen it all. We've seen how people have been responding and reacting. Again, no harm, no foul, no judgment, no nothing. Go ahead and put in the comment section, what are your thoughts in regards to where we are today with Jada now, sharing about stuff that she wrote about in the book and how she's sharing it out right now. So Dr. Shonte, what's your thoughts? Where are you right now? Go ahead.
Dr. Shonte. I was just gonna say, I started a live earlier where I was trying to bring you on, and I kind of went on a rant about the power of listening to understand, right? The power of having compassion for other, and not making assumptions that we know every part of someone's life and psyche and experiences, right? And I also talked about how I understand that a lot of people are angry about a lot of things, but beneath the anger, Dr. Sarah, there is sadness, there is broken trust, right? Mm-hmm. And when we didn't know all those years about their relationship because they were, living behind the scenes, and they just looked like a power couple, and they always seemed manicured, right? We had to make up stories about them and their life. And there was no signs at the time, I think, for a lot of people, that there was any major things wrong. Okay, so we have this fairy tale story in our head, and then what did Jada do? She opened up her home to us on the platform of the Red Table. She's like, I'm inviting you all into my home like a friend, like family. And during these talks, you are going to learn about us, this multi-generational dynamic. And you're going to hear things that you haven't heard before. You're going to connect. You're going to learn things. You're going to clutch your pearls on some things. And everybody was entertained. Everybody walked willingly into this Smith's home. And she entertained. She brought in experts. She brought in some healing dynamics, some multi-generational conversations. So we were able to resonate depending on where we were in time and space. And this is before the whole Will dynamic, right? Interview. And so when that interview happened with him and all this other stuff started being revealed, guess what? People went on a whole nother, however you interpreted it, okay? You felt betrayed because now she is talking about something that you don't resonate with, right? Now this perfect family, right, that may have had a little issues because they haven't truly revealed everything yet. Now this dynamic of, they were with other people, okay, and however that showed up, now you feel betrayed. Your idea of this family has now been trashed, basically, and that trust is gone. That oxytocin, that trust neurohormone plummeted. That the dopamine plummeted. There's no more serotonin. Now what's activated? Your threat brain, your amygdala, because that's what happens when somebody breaks your trust. So I get that you feel betrayed, and maybe you didn't know this on an awareness level, and it's not for everybody, but some of you, that's where it's coming from, because beneath that anger, beneath that demonizing and that berating of someone that you don't even know, to have that level, I know you've seen it, Dr. Sarah, that level of hatred. We just can be silent about it. And so I get it. We get it to some degree. But we're not going to stand for it. Go ahead, Dr. Sarah. That was just like a little appetizer, and then we jumped on here. I do want to say this one thing. Bill Cosby. Can we just?
She's all listening right now, y'all.
I'm like, he was America's dad. He was America's dad. He was that was the first family that we saw consistently Black professionals thriving and not always dealing with social issues all the time, on trauma and all in drama all the time, right? First time for decades, or at least for 8 years. They had 8 seasons, I believe. And everybody, the families to gather together every Thursday at 8 o'clock.
Yep.
It was a family event. And then recently, what our idea of America's dad was totally blown up. We felt betrayed. Everybody felt that. And I have 1,000 more examples. But at the end of the day, people, everybody's human. And the degree of what they have done needs to be taken on a case-by-case basis. And unfortunately, in the U.S. and a lot of other male-dominated or patriarchal societies, women are judged more harshly than our male counterparts in every single realm. So I just wanted to make that connection just in case people weren't making that connection, because I think it matters that it's okay to feel betrayed and your trust is broken.
All right now. So thank you so much, Doc, for sharing that. And hey, it made me pull up who went to my profile page. Who remembers this? If you don't remember this, that means you're just too young to be my friend. So we can't be friends. Remember this. We can be friends. So listen. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Dr. Sarah, Renee, and this is Dr. Shonte. We're here just to talk about our side of the story in terms of lending a perspective, because we're not in their home. We're just here just to help to try to connect the dots and lay some foundational ground in regards to what you may be experiencing and feeling, or what you've been witnessing and seeing when it comes to the whole Will and Jada Saga story. I call it that way. Just want to say thank you for tuning in. Dwight, thank you. And Dr. Lorraine, we got the doctors in the house and behavioral practitioner. Go ahead now. Hey, Shelly, how are you doing? Listen, Philly all day, right? Vernon said that I asked earlier about, hey, what are your thoughts? What are your feelings around this? He was like, well, it's their business. I don't lose any sleep over it. Unfortunately, I met Will at parties at Overbrook, Summer League games, and Lady B. Will and Jazzy Jeff did my high school after prom, Parkside East. Okay, well, I'm from Central, so I don't know the difference. But yeah, I didn't go to Dobbins, that was right around the corner for me. So I said, let me go out. I went Central. He said, I saw the post. It was a picture of the angry Will in it that I read. I can't even kill her because she will then be with Tupac. It's these different means, Dr. Shonte, that's floating, right? I saw the one. Who saw the one? Now, I know I was guilty for this too. I did share like at least 2. One was, and that Natalie, if you're watching this, it's your fault. You made me do it.
I'm not. I don't laugh at a couple. Some of them, it can be funny.
It was a meme that had Jada and had the headscarf or the do-rag, whatever, saying that she revealed that she was Tupac the whole entire time. Now, that was funny to me. That was funny. And then they showed the picture of Suge Knight and Tupac in the infamous talk car. They got shot, but then Jada was in the back seat. So she was there the whole time. So, yes, I know people, listen, now let's talk psychologically. Part of the reason why these memes are flowing, while it may seem on a surface level just to make us laugh, it is releasing certain, chemicals by which Dr. Shonte can talk and lend more information about that. But we're trying to find ways to cope. So this is one way of coping. to make light of it, to laugh, because as Dr. Shonte said, while yes, we all can on a surface level say that we're not losing any sleep, this is their life, this is their business. But if you truly notice, there are people who are really taking this personally, and they can say out of, you know, one side of the mouth and then on the other vehemently, like really like texting or sharing their feelings about it, like, oh, I really can't rock with her. I saw someone who posted another meme and they were questioning now the authenticity of it. It's like, all right, is it really real? Did she really say this? And some people are like, I don't care. I just don't rock with her anymore. I don't like her.
I don't
So
like her. They said that about Hillary and
yeah,
Kamala Harris. And look what we got. It's
right.
like women are judged more harshly than our male counterparts for everything, what we say, our sexual behaviors, ethics. I mean, there's research. There's like a Mount Everest amount of research on this dynamic. And it hasn't been fair for a long time, and it continues. The saga continues, especially when we're talking about women of color. Okay, let's just keep it real as well. I said earlier that there's three sides to every story. That's the wisdom of my own father. His side, her side, and the truth. Let her tell her truth. We gave him the space and grace to tell his story. Right? Let her speak, and let's listen to understand. And maybe, just maybe, we might have a different perspective or learn something a little bit new that shifts us and opens up our hearts and be more compassion to people's journey, because that's what we're all on, a freaking human complex journey. Okay.
Yeah.
And everybody's human. And from our training, we know that listening is the foundation of what we do. Listening with intent, with quality attention, without expecting anything back. Listening for the opportunity to maybe perhaps be of service and guide people and help them to navigate to the next part of their higher selves, help them to navigate their emotion, these complex emotions. I mean, you know, the brain is the last frontier of understanding this human experience, right? And it's the least known compared to all the rest of the organs. And so there's so much more to know and understand, but it's the least organ that people even think about every day and how to use it. But it's the greatest technology in the world. And I truly believe, you know me, I'm like a broken record. It is going to shift us to the next part of our humanity. But if we start with violently abusing people, berating people we've never met, but we think we know them because they're celebrities, remember who stepped into whose home. You welcomed her when she was entertaining, when her brokenness was entertaining everyone, when her story was entertaining you, when her discussions were entertaining you, and she was finally being vulnerable. Aren't we supposed to at some point become vulnerable? Isn't that one of the tenets of getting this higher self-awareness and emotional intelligence? And then all of a sudden, when she needs people, she's struggling, she's navigating, she's going to the next level of this nonsense, this mess. Yeah, she probably put a lot of herself in it, but I need you to talk about her upbringing. That is so important to understanding the dynamics in which we make decisions and navigate life and parents and relationships. On top of that, the social and cultural experiences by people of color in this society as well. Go ahead, Dr.
No,
Sarah, I need you to go.
I hear you. And here's the bottom line. So what I want you to do, and actually, Shonte, if you could take this for me for a second as well, if you could continue the flow. The only thing I want to lend, because I'm also a caregiver for y'all that knows that. So Daddy is calling, so I want to check on him, make sure he's good. But
Absolutely.
you're good. Everything's good. You can keep flowing. I just want to say that the reason why we're doing this is, as you hear our hearts, we want it to be fair, just straight human beings, just for fairness sake. Because why is it that, like she said, why is it that she's getting attacked, but when Will is promoting his book, this is basic, foundational. It's like, okay, you promote your book, you're going to talk about it, you're going to go to different places and talk. So is she not allowed to share her side of the story as well as Will was able to? That we're just talking about fairness, but we want to hear from you. What are your thoughts about that? Do you feel like it's fair? Do you care that it is or is not fair? Do you still not like her? That's fine. We're not here to convince you on who to like, who not to like. This is more about us just having a conversation so that we can help to reframe or see things in different perspectives, because it's really bigger than Will and Jada, and that's the whole point of what we're coming with this. So, Shonte, what's your thoughts to that? I'll be right back, everybody. Keep going, Shonte.
Look, where to start? Look, so Dr. Sarah actually wanted me to come on when Chris Rock was assaulted on stage by Will. And that brought up a whole lot within me that I didn't know was even there. And it was very triggering and traumatizing for me to see that violence. And in context of, history and where we are as people of color, and this momentous moment, the Oscars at the time, it was produced by a Black man for the first time, and you got the Williams sisters and her father, and everybody's, waiting for this moment, and he steals this moment in time with, according to some on the internet, Jada's voodoo mind tricks.
Mm.
And he physically assaulted someone, and yeah, he caught backlash, but the grace, I mean, it was like a couple of months, right? He doing what he's doing now. He went out of the limelight, okay?
Mm-hmm. He did.
Right? And so people forgot. They forgot that they were angry at him. But some people actually stood up, defended him. But that's another thing. My point is, you have wanted us to go on, and you were like, come on, Shonte, come on. And that was 2-3 years ago. Now I was like, I can't get myself together. I can't get my thoughts together. I'm all this is some DNA level stuff that I can't explain right now. So, but this time when I saw these comments, this berating, these videos against Jada like that, it triggered something else in me as a Black woman, and my mirror neurons started firing off, because I felt like that could be me. That is me. It's like we got to look out for each other, because historically people are not looking out for certain groups of people. And like you said earlier, until that day comes, we just want it to be equal. So you're not going to see us bashing anybody on the internet, in these internet streets. That's not the platform. It's unethical. It's not compassionate. It's presumptuous. It's assuming, right? And so that's not the space we are right now. We are in listening mode, listening for understanding. We want to see, where can we find some level of compassion? And I mean, I don't know exactly everything she has done. That's one reason I'm willing to listen, hear her story, read her book, okay? Because that is important to me and Dr. Sarah on our part, the part of where we are in time and space, spiritually, professionally, and understanding, okay?
Yes.
That's our training. I mean, that's our foundation. Listen to understand first, point blank, period. And everybody doesn't have that training, but some people have that level of natural understanding. And people who are willing to listen have a growth mindset. The people who think they already know based on a slice of information of their lives have a fixed mindset, because there's always more to understand. And if you think you understand everyone's life based on 10 minutes, 2 hours, compared to from their birth to 50 years plus, then that's not a growth mindset. That's not a highly self-aware mindset. That's not an empathetic mindset. And there's still room to grow. And this is what, after listening to understand with a client, I would say this on some level as well.
Okay, you better go ahead and sip to that, girl. So, with that said,
you
listen.
can't have all that.
At the end of the day, and thank you everybody for tuning in, who's been joining us and listening. We just wanted to come in, Dr. Sarah Renee, Dr. Shonte, we're just here from psychological perspectives. Everybody has been giving their raw, authentic, reactions to Jada airing out the dirty laundry, as many have said, or putting, their business out there. That was one of the main issues that people were having, Dr. Shonte, and the fact that they felt like, okay, you know what? It's almost as if it made it seem like Will was the victim. And so from my perspective, what I wanted to say,
literally, people said that.
Yeah, what I was going to say to that is, and before I do share, I just want to say thank you everybody for tuning in. Again, you could have tuned in anywhere, at whatever hour that you're in. So wherever you're watching this, whether you're going to watch the replay or watching it right now, thank you so much for you and your time and lending your perspective. No harm, no foul. Put it in the comment section. What's your thoughts? How have you been feeling? How have you been reacting, if at all? And we can go from there. So Elle, thank you for tuning in. Mr. Aziz, thank you for tuning in. We really appreciate everybody who have been on this. And I think we may have to do a part 2 as well, just to be, we don't want to keep harping on it, but we wanted to do at best, everybody, is to come. If you have any questions, your thoughts, we're here. We have our backgrounds. We have, the training, and we have the ability to listen. And this is what we're just doing. We're wanting to exemplify and set the example on what to do when you're seeing stories, not just Jada and Will. Listen, there's been a lot of stuff that's been going on, okay? And how have you been reacting when it comes to the war that's happening with Israel and Gaza? Like, how have you been handling the stuff that's going on with the government, the possible government shutdown that's going to happen in the States? How have you been reacting? It seems like it's one thing after another, after another, after another, right? And it's like we almost feel like we're about to bust with yet another thing. Mm-hmm. So in one instance, it's understandable that many may react. We may react like, okay, dang, this one more thing, like we just don't know how to deal with this. And I found in working with clients how at times, Dr. Shonte, everybody, sometimes people just don't know how to deal with their emotions. They know how to react. They know how to behave. And when I say about behaving, maybe not behaving accurately or efficiently. I don't like to use the word appropriately, but like just acting in a way, this is what they know. Mm-hmm. But what we're asking you all to do, when you're looking at the situation with Jada and Will, step back and look at it again. It's one thing to look at it where you're looking at it right now. Then we just want you to kind of step back and look at it again and kind of see, okay, ask yourself, this is what I ask my clients. When you have a reaction to something, because it's one thing to dismiss it, it's one thing to minimize, be like, okay, this is not bothering me. Listen, this isn't bothering me either. At the same time, though, I find myself being passionate about it. Part of it, I had to ask myself, what is the reason behind me reacting the way that I'm reacting? What is the meaning that I'm giving to this situation? So if anything, this can apply across the board universally. Anytime that you are having a reaction, you really don't know, like let's say you're just reacting, this is what you do. Psychologically, you've been conditioned that way. Maybe, and it always typically trained back to childhood. however, a situation that happened that you learned how to deal with it. And then it doesn't fall off just because you're now the age that you are. You're still reacting on autopilot with that. So that's what we're saying. Instead of just quickly reacting, we're here not to change your minds, not to convince you, but just lending a different perspective of reframing. And reframe just means looking at it differently. Look at it differently. Step back, ask yourself, what is the meaning that I'm giving to this? Why am I reacting the way that I'm reacting? Whatever reaction that you have. Because then when you ask yourself that question, and we give you permission to talk back to yourself. It's all right. I know that you talk that, oh, if you talk and you answer back, that's crazy. Don't worry about it. Just erase that off your minds, okay? It's okay. If you ask yourself that question, and then there will be a response. There will be some enlightenment, some insight that will come up for you. Let that land. If what comes back to you like, oh, Jada reminds me of my mom. I remember when my dad said that to me. Oh, grandma. It seems like, grandma told us not to put our business out there. So I don't understand why she's breaking code like that. Then you start to see how it starts to unpack a little bit more. And then perhaps that will open up the opportunity for you to look at it a little bit differently. And all we're here is to try to see, at best, we're doing and using our skills, our experiences, even our personal experiences. Listen, hands down, at one point I didn't like Jada. And part of it, and this was decades ago, I felt like I already saw this coming. And because I felt like they just really weren't compatible. And so I felt that Will and the image that he gave, I thought that he was, I was like, wow, she's doing a lot. Why? But then as time went on and understanding how it works out there when it comes to Hollywood, when it comes to celebrities, and how, marketing is a beast. Them having to be a part of a power couple back at the time, right? Like they were the next it couple. And so regardless of whatever was going on, they probably was going through natural issues just like couples do. But because of their image and their celebrity status, they had to mask. They had to be a certain way for us to now buy in and to really add momentum for their heightened success. And because they were a couple, regardless of if Will was higher than Jada, whatever, they were one. So it heightened their success. And so then I think that what happened was the fact that sometimes, y'all, when we feel like we're not really living in our truth, we will find a way to sabotage it or to break camp. And if that meant by way of August Sina, if it meant by way of, and let's keep it 100. Will actually did let us know ahead of time about them separating. The issue that I have with Will is that he does subliminal stuff. Jada's straight with it. And so when I said earlier about how, from being from Philly, like, someone asked that, I think, Verdon, North all day, Verdon. North. I'm from North. I'm not from West, from North. Okay. So the fact that I was kind of like, so I had actually like, okay, what's the meaning that I'm giving to this situation? Why am I feeling that way? And so the result was, because I can't tell you to do things that I don't do it. Like, if I swear by my stuff and think that my, answers and solutions and advice is helping the masses, and I don't apply that doesn't make sense. So I had to apply that for myself. And I said, hey, all right, I'm feeling some type of way because he's supposed to be representing North Philly. Like, how dare he? Why is he acting like, again, see, I caught myself, y'all. I caught myself. I'm like, man, this man is acting, he's supposed to be from West Philly. He's acting like this. But
it's so exhausting, though.
It is.
This, make these assumptions and, the anger and, spewing, finding those negative words, that negativity, that's a whole different side of the emotional spectrum. And it's not empowering, right? I mean, it's coming from that threat brain, that amygdala that really hijacks your nervous system, your ability to think clearly and focus. So, even to gin up those thoughts and those emotions, you have to go into a certain state and spew this on another human being. And I think there should be some kind of space, like a pause, before that is transferred onto another human being that you truly don't know. And maybe you heard something through another venue, through their mouth, that you don't particularly like. And like Dr. Sarah was saying, maybe you haven't explored that deeper connection of why you are reacting, because emotions are information.
It is.
Right? And so it's information, and information tells us to do something. And like you said, it means to explore where that is coming from, possibly to ask questions.
Yeah.
That's a whole another way of coming to an understanding of somebody's situation or conclusion of a whole human being. I just think
Yes, and that's why
mm-hmm.
I was just going
Go ahead.
And that's why we're having this conversation with you all, that again, if one person can walk away and be like, you know what, there's so many layers. So if we were to condense it as a starting point today, and again, we thank you for just tuning in. We thank you for you doing your part, for even being with us in this conversation, as well as sharing this out, tagging people, liking this, so that this can go out. Because at the end of the day, our goal was to help you to look at this from a different perspective. We can, and we were to parse it out. Like I was saying, as far as like, my issue with Will, and I had to ask myself, why was I feeling this way? And because of the connection that I have, we're from Philly. And so I'm like, okay, this is not how we act. This is not, you're supposed to be hard and tough and hood. You're supposed to be straight up. Come on, Jada's doing it. Why is she, why you let her make you look like this? Like, I started to really feel that way. Like, then I felt like I was connected to him, like he was family. Like, like if he was with me, like, come on, man, like, what are you doing? Like, come on now, you gotta be tough. Come on, man, like, you're from Philly.
Yeah.
So what we're doing to set the example for you is that at the end of the day, one layer has been, if we were to parse it out in different ways, it is that societal patriarchal way of thinking in terms of, the man can get away with it, but the woman can't. What we wanted to do was not have, because since there's some men that were watching this, we didn't want you to feel like we're bashing, like this is yet another. We wanted you to come and look at this objectively, so that you can hear, and like Dr. Shonte was saying, listening, to be able to listen and not react or be defensive. Ask yourself, where is that coming from? What is the meaning that I'm giving to my reaction right now to this situation? So then, shifting from the patriarchal, societal conditioning, it goes deeper, a deeper level. Like, okay, all right, how am I connected to the situation? Yes, I can dismiss it and say, this isn't bothering me. I'm not going to lose any sleep. I'm not losing any money. This is their life. But yet you still find yourself feeling some type of way about it. So then, okay, where does this come from? Sometimes we'll realize that it's connected to something that we have projected onto from our childhood. Like, oh, I remember, the way that Jada's acting, or the way that Will is saying this, or he's not saying anything. And, this is not what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to keep our dirty laundry in-house. So this could be that type of reaction. So then go deeper, and then it can become a situation where twofold. One, you got control of it, where now if you actually see any more Jada stuff, that you won't react the same, that you will react differently, that you will actually step back and be like, okay, why am I acting like this? And not just with Jada, but this can apply to anything. So we're giving you some great tips right now on how you can handle these situations differently, because, hey, y'all, we're still recovering from the slap. And then this brought us here. And then also in between, we had all these other things that's going on. So if anything, we want to take it to a higher collective of thought. So that, because again, as we were talking about, sometimes we just weren't taught on how to handle things emotionally, to understand emotions, to understand behaviors. Sometimes it's just on autopilot, and we just thought that this is how you're supposed to act. This is what you're supposed to do, until we came here and disrupt that way of thinking. So that now it lends opportunity for you to stop, pause, and think, and be like, okay, wow, okay, instead of me reacting this way, here's how I can approach it. Oh, now I know why I'm acting like that, and this has nothing to do with me. God bless Jada, God bless Will. Hey, that's their stuff, and I'm going to attend to mine. Whatever will be the end result. Our goal was to help you to kind of see how this is playing out. Mm-hmm. So, recap, start with where you are. Ask yourself, answer the question back. What is the meaning that I'm giving to this? Why am I reacting the way that I'm reacting? Whatever answer, first thought that comes to mind, we call it free association. First thought that comes to mind usually is typically the answer. From there, flesh it out. Oh, wow, I see why I'm acting this way, because grandma said that. We're not supposed to put your business out there. That reminds me, Jada reminds me of my mom when she did that to my dad. Then take it deeper. All right, you know what? I don't need to react like this. Oh, I'm about to react. You know what? I'm not doing that. I see where this is coming from. I see how that's making me act this way. I'm not doing that. I'm going to reframe it. I'm going to do different. I'm going, I'm going to hear what Jada is saying. I'm going to hear what Will is saying and see whatever lessons I can learn, or no lessons, but you know what? God bless them. Man, if we were able to help you today, just to kind of approach this differently, and what we want you to do is reach out to us. Follow Dr. Shonte. Make sure that you get her contact information. I'll let her, share how you can connect with her. But make sure that you let us know, what were your thoughts about this conversation today? Put in the comment section, what is one thing that you're going to do differently to get a different result? And at the end of the day, where does this lead us now? Because again, it's higher than Jada and Will, because there are so many things. What I was saying a moment ago, we're recovering over the slap still, and here we are now with the book, but then we don't know what's down the pike next. And I'm not just talking about Jada and Will. I'm talking about everything else that's going on in between. We don't want you to pop first. Emotionally.
Right?
We really don't. It's a lot.
It's
so
a
we're
lot,
just trying to help you
and
make it digestible. Dr. Shonte, everybody.
I love how you sum that up, because what I heard you say at the end, like maybe you'll react differently. And to me, that's maybe you won't give that power away, and
Good.
you'll redirect it
Good.
in a way that's understanding or clarifying for you, or however it shows up. Everything that we're saying, it's all for people to operate at the highest level of themselves, because all this violence, all this spewing of hate and name calling, whoever it's coming from, it's not our higher selves. It's not going to get us to the highest level of our humanity.
Yeah.
And that is our goal. That is our mission. That is our jam, right? We can't be limitless if we held down by primitive instincts, right?
Right. Come on now, you better speak my language now, Doc. Come on now, put me on. Wake me up.
Like, come on, let's go, humans. Stop this nonsense. But no, seriously, we appreciate y'all, and just sending love and peace all over the world, and extending compassion where I can, and continue to listen. People can find me, just type in my name, Shonte Taylor. I'm the only neuroscientist, Black female neuroscientist, name change, Shonte Taylor. So easy to find. So thank you for having me on your platform, Sarah.
Oh, please. You're very welcome. Thank you for joining me, Shonte. I love this. Hey, Ursula, thank you for tuning in. Everybody, once more, we just thank you so much for being a part of this conversation. Thank you for lending your ears to us. You were listening. Look at y'all. Go ahead, give yourselves a pat on the back.
I love how you call this disruptors, because we have to interrupt these patterns that are not serving us, not serving other people's relationships, not serving their relationships with social media, and not serving their relationships or their ideal roles for these celebrities. It's like, we got to see these celebrities as human, because we already see what happens when we put a certain celebrity in a certain power of position. Don't let celebrities have that kind of power over your emotions, over your thoughts. Right. Okay. And so that's what we are here to just help disrupt what's happening. So maybe just for a moment, for a second, just listen to whatever part you heard us say. But it's all out of love.
That's right. And matter of fact, I love that, Shonte. Why don't you put in the comment section, what resonated for you? Like, it's a lot of things that we have said, but what resonated most for you? Put in the comment section, and we'll check it again. If you're going to watch the replay, for those who's watching the replay, thank you so much for tuning in. Again, you're making your time, and that's your valuable asset. So thank you for joining us and watching the replay, and thank you again for sharing this out. And yes, this is about disruption. We'll be so happy just for you thinking differently. Again, it's the difference between looking at this differently or trying to convince you and have you to look at it from our perspective. It's more about having you to think differently. Just stop and think. And hopefully the tools that we have shared will be a benefit to you. Let us know if you applied it and how did it work out for you. And not just, again, with Will and Jada. at the end of the day, let me just leave this last point. It's almost like they were in an initiation, not even an initiation, like almost like they were in a game. Like the only way that you're going to get out of that thing, sometimes it's through death, sometimes it is, and I'm not saying they're going to die, but I'm saying like they had to deal with the public humiliation, they got to deal with the persecution they got to do, but it's just at the end of the day, maybe they're just like, okay, we're tired of having to live up to this image, this hype, this fantasy that we had to put out there, and we're willing at this point to just break camp and just live normal lives and just be not in the spotlight the way that they have been. You know, because now we have new power couples. See, they set it off, and now we got new power couples out there. So they really don't have to do the thing that they had to do back then. It's like, who said that they really were trying or wanted to even be the perfect power couple to us? I love what you said, Shonte, in terms of the betrayal. And I feel like that's where we all have been reacting collectively, maybe not individually, but the fact that maybe we just didn't have the words to say, that maybe we do feel betrayed. Like, wow, y'all were relationship goals. Every time we would see Jada and Will, hashtag relationship goals. And so now you may be disappointed and hurt and shocked, like, wow, they betrayed you. They made you think that it was like that, and now they're not relationship goals. But at the end of the day, I think that now they're thinking more about themselves, and that's okay. They're thinking about their mental health. They're thinking about their healing. And so if that means that they got to break camp and get out of this whole fantasy world so that they can live the life that they want to live authentically, then they're doing what they have to do. And it's freeing. In spite of what is initially happening, sometimes you're going to deal with what you got to do just to now get to the other side of feeling free and feeling like you're really being your true self. And that's what, honestly, I was seeing from this whole situation with Will and Jada, especially from Jada's end. So, you know, maybe Will's like, listen, I still want to ride this out. And Jada's like, nah, I'm done. After 25 years, I'm done.
Well, he did say that, you know, he was not going to fail at this marriage. You know, he was like, he was adamant he was not a failure. He's not going to fail in his career. He's not going to fail at anything, including his family, no matter what. Because that was his level, that was his lens, that was his goal, regardless.
And the question is, how's that working for him? See, and that's the thing. It's like you always got to ask yourself, like, how's that going for you? How's that working for you? Here we are. See, if it wasn't authentic, at the end of the day, it's going to get to the authenticity. And so here we are. It took 25 years, but here we are. And, you know, sometimes you just get older, you get tired. You're like, nah, I'm not trying to do that anymore. So God bless them. God bless you all. We hope this was helpful and beneficial. There may be a part 2, so look out for it. If you want that part 2, let us know. Put it in the comment section. Dr. Shonte, thank you so much for blessing us with your presence and your information. And, you know, again, follow Dr. Shonte. And yeah, this is Dr. Sarah Renee, your Limitless Liberator, helping you to be limitless one day at a time.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much for what you do.
Yes.
It's time. It's time.
You're welcome. Thank you. And thank you, everybody. Y'all have a great evening on purpose. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.